On this episode of My Motivate, we revisit the horror of a road accident that happened on Thika Road 25 years ago. 40 prisons officers died on the spot, and Godfrey Wasilwa was one of the handful of survivors who lived to tell the tale. Survived one of Kenya's worst traffic accidents. And I remember it vividly, despite the fact that it happened many years ago. So take us back to 1994.
I was very young, very energetic. I had just joined a disciplined force. That's prisons, eh? And we were working. We had just started doing an official, let me call it government official duty. We were doing a parade, a national parade, and we had an accident in 1994. That's 1st of December. We were preparing to do 12th of December, Jamhuri Day. And when we had an accident, actually my colleagues, 40, died on spot. It was very tragic. I cannot explain. But I thank God I came out broken. I could not even understand myself. It was around, I finished in ICU around 3 days. And when I gained my conscience, I could just feel I'm broken up, every bandages everywhere. My hand had come out. There's this collarbone had been broken. My pelvis had been broken. My 2 legs were broken. I was.
There was nothing that wasn't broken in your body.
I was just nowhere. And I don't know how I survived, because we were behind. We were with guns. If you have a gun, there is some knives called bayonets. We had them. And when we were rolling the lorry, you look at me now, you feel I'm beautiful or I'm handsome, but I have injuries even behind.
From the bayonets, they were all
bayonets
rolling.
As we were rolling, the guns were piercing us it rolled several times. But I thank God, I came out without knowing where I am for 3 days. I think where people die and go, there's no pain, because for the 3 days I was in ICU, I could not feel anything until when I started gaining my conscience. It's when I felt pain almost everywhere. But I thank God I'm here, fine.
And how many survivors were there?
We were 64 on the lorry.
Right.
And 40 died on spot. Apart from those who died on spot, people have been dying slowly. We are only remaining 8. Out of 64, we are only remaining 8.
So let's go back to 5 months in the hospital and recovering. Walk us through that journey.
The government did not take the step of faith to feel that we be treated. Because one, we were treated because of emergency. Only emergency. An accident had occurred. And after me leaving the ICU, we were discharged. I went home with the problems that I had.
After 3 days or 5 months?
No, after 3 days, I went home. Because there was no money to maintain us in the hospital.
So all of you, all these survivors of that accident were all sent home?
Yeah, were sent home. Now we were to use our own money to get treated. I remember, let me give you a little story about what happened. I was in Kenyatta. But when I was discharged after 3 days from the ICU, immediately I left. There is some suturing. It's called suturing. They sutured here. Around 22 stitches. And then the doctor who did that made a problem, because he used stitches called permanent. Those, when you are healed, they remove. Instead of using that stays until
the skin grafts on its own.
So when I went home, it started getting worse. Pus started coming out. And I was taken now from where I was, because I was near Wilson. A friend of mine took me to Moi Forces,
the hospital.
The hospital.
Mm.
When I was there, they removed now those stitches once again and started treating, washing the pus, you know. It was very hectic.
What happened next in terms of support? Where was your family?
Yeah, my wife, in fact, went to the mortuary to look for me because it was very horrific. And as you understand, there was just nothing. The bodies were taken to the mortuary, city mortuary. So she went there to look, physically to look for me. She could not get me. So she was told she's in ICU, Kenyatta. She came there, but she was of good help to me because when I came out, I gained my conscience. That's after 3 days. She was just by my bedside.
Throughout the 3 days that you were there, she didn't leave your side?
No, she could not leave me. And I lost my mom when I was 5 years old. My father was aged by that time. My elder brothers were not available because I was the only able person now. So they could come, try the always from home, come tell me pole, and they go back. I was left alone with my wife. And as we are talking, even up to now, the lawyer ate our money, hasn't paid us.
There was a huge case about it, and to date, you've still not been paid?
No. We have used all the machinery in the government. We've gone to ombudsman. We've used our lawyers. Nothing has come out.
That's a sad state of affairs. You've talked about the physical trauma of the accident. You've even talked about the psychological trauma of the accident. And you say you can actually drive a lorry now. You've got no fear of green cards, and you're back on the roads.
Yes, I'm back on the road. I had that problem because I feared. In fact, when I entered the vehicle, if a vehicle could just twist like this, I feel like it's going to have an accident. My body was shaking. But after doing that therapy, it's called a therapy, flooding therapy, I went back, I started driving the vehicles. I drive in never pass.
And how many years has it been, or did it take before you could get back behind a wheel and drive?
Around 9 years.
Okay, that was a long time.
Because I started driving 2002. So it's around 9 years.
It did take a bit of time.
Yeah. Despite all this, we're still working. I'm in a prison called Committee.
Right. Right. You get to see a lot, but every day you wake up and you're there. I'm sure you're the one who serves the hardest and the longest hours because you know how long this walk to get to where you are has been.
Yeah, I understand. But I think, as I started saying, the government should do something.
Right.
Should do something, because if it cannot do something, people will continue to die in the vehicle.
As we wind up, Godfrey, what are you most grateful for? Every day, ukiamka asubuhi, what do you thank God for?
If you look at me, you may. I don't look like.
You don't look like you were in an accident. You don't look like anything was broken at all.
At the same time, you don't look. I don't put on like a askari. I look like a pastor somehow.
Yeah, you could be a pastor. You could be a sponsor.
Yeah, I am a pastor.
Right.
I pastor church, and I thank God for that. You know, I like encouraging people. I always tell people what the experience I've gone through.
Yeah.
And I tell them, let's put our lives into God, because without God is nothing. I don't see myself looking at how the 40 people, even if you just go in the mortuary, start counting 1, 2, 3, 4 bodies, 40, and I'm not there. That's God. Yeah. That's God.
It is a miracle.
And actually, I'm humbled to tell even the world that our life is just God, nobody else.